everyone. Hello, Christos. Just setting up my comments here. Welcome, welcome, Massive. Gotta do these permissions with Instagram, you know that. Copyright owner. Hi guys, welcome, welcome. Bless up, bless up. Just gotta make sure Instagram knows everything is straight over here. Welcome guys. All right, Christos, I see you know what's going on. Hey guys, welcome. Greetings, greetings. What's up?
Greetings,
Hey.
greetings. How are you?
Blessed love, Christos.
Yes, I bless.
Oh,
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy you're able, and Teresa made it happen.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm actually traveling at the moment, but the timing was perfect. So this is I'm in a beautiful place, but I could not find a place to share the view with you. So we just have to deal with this hotel room because of noise issues and privacy issues.
I saw the picture you shared. I was like, wow, look at the sunshine. I need to absorb the sunshine that you're getting right now because it's gray skies here in Toronto.
Oh, I left Washington, D.C., and let me tell you, Southern California is heaven on earth. In comparison, I love my city. I love where I'm from. No disrespect, D.C., but Southern California is a lot warmer right now, so I'd rather be here.
Wow. So I want to bless up the Reggae fam worldwide, tuning in worldwide on the radio. We know we have a massive following worldwide, and I want to bless up the Instagram people that will be coming in and joining. It says that they're shooting people information that we're live. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you for taking the time out on your travels.
I know when you're traveling,
things can be hectic.
There's traveling. I enjoy traveling, to be honest, but it is exhausting, and so you have to really pace yourself and just mind your energy, mind what you put in and what you get out from what you put in. So I try to eat very carefully and, just moderate myself as I'm moving.
And it's harder to travel now. So, you got to think about your food. You got to think about, the restriction. You got to think about all kinds of things when you're traveling. Things are different now. So traveling is a little bit more hectic. If you hear a dog barking, don't, I have 2 dogs here. They're min-pins.
No worries.
So excuse the dogs if you hear anything.
No worries.
The followers know what's going on there. They've already seen them on the live and stuff. But I'm so happy.
Restrictions. You're right. Have really stepped up. And so you have to be tested in lots of places or show a vaccination card. And this is just where things are going. It's completely out of our control, so we just have to do the best we can with.
Exactly. It's out of our control. We got to go with the flow. Things are changing daily. Even here in Canada, things, it seems like we're moving 1 step forward and then we move 3 steps back. So, you got to be mindful of that. And things probably are different. In any state, every state is different.
Sure.
But you have to adjust,
Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. State to state, country to country, all over the world,
Exactly. So I wanted to talk about a special project of yours, your 6th album, right?
Yes.
Crisis 2.0.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yeah, I named it Crisis. I think it's pretty evident as to why I named it Crisis, given the year that we all experienced in 2020. And 2.0 is just kind of an abbreviated way of trying to say 2020, but just in a different creative manner.
Yes.
So it's Crisis 2020, really, essentially. But
is that what it is? Crisis
2020? 2.0 is just sort of, I'm just insinuating the year 2020, but just doing it by different means.
Good for you. I like that.
Because 2.0, yeah, 2.0 meaning like, however much you got out of that, we subtract numbers and we add numbers all the time. So I removed the 2 and the couple of zeros and just added a point in there. So, language is there to be played with. We don't always have, I believe in speaking correctly and those kinds of things, but I believe that we should also really utilize language and just play with it, try to be creative with the words that we've been given.
Yes, I noticed that in your lyrics. I noticed that in your message. So tell me the creative process behind your sixth album. Obviously, the state of the world had something to do with it, as we spoke about briefly. But how did this album how did this album come to be?
Well, I'll tell you, I had just released an album
a year ago, right? A year before?
Yeah, called Self-Evident. And within a matter of less than a month, we got hit with this pandemic. And so it was as if the album itself just kind of went nowhere. And, everything we had set up to follow up on the album, all those plans were just completely, I won't use the word destroyed. They were just removed. And so, in that time, I was at home. We're all locked down. And I'm unable to call the musicians I normally work with and do sessions the same way I normally do. So I sat down, and it really brought me back to where I started many, many years ago, almost 3 decades ago, when I started in reggae. And I used to build the rhythms by myself with the drum machine, playing the keyboards, playing the guitars, playing all the bass lines. And it was actually a fun process because it brought me back to my roots. And so all the songs on Crisis, I originally sat and just built the rhythms by myself. And in time, I was able to bring people in to start doing some overdubs and things like that. But, initially, the process was something I did completely alone. And it was a very different experience from some of the other albums. And, the messages in Crisis are also a little bit more, shall we say, political, or, I've made it a point in this album to really speak out on a lot of things that were happening in the world. Having grown up in Washington, D.C., of course, the Black Lives Matter movement was very close to home. So I really wanted to make a statement on lots of these issues and kind of fuse them all together. So it's not just one subject or another. And I wanted the album to have a flow so that from top to bottom, you put it on and it just flows seamlessly from one song to the next, which I've had a couple of criticisms about, but to be honest, that's okay. I actually enjoy hearing criticisms because it gives me a different perspective than just people always saying favorable things. And, those are what we used to call concept albums, or a theme record where it just flows from song to song and the messages are very similar. So it's repeating some of the same things in a different way. But it was a really great experience, and I feel like I grew even in how I'm expressing my voice because I started to incorporate a little bits of patois into it. And, I'm clearly an English speaker and was born and raised speaking English. However, I toured with, people from Jamaica and have spent so much time, the past 30 years of my life around Jamaican.
Yeah.
And I've learned the language very, very well. So, my friends from Jamaica, they kind of laugh at me and say, "Nah, Chris, man, 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 you have to use it, because I was very shy to incorporate that into my songwriting in the past. Right. But I just stepped outside of that this time just to say, I'm not going to pretend I'm someone else than I am, but I'm going to incorporate a bit of this into how I'm singing and writing. And And it really helps on stage, I'll tell you that much, because people really,
it shows
really...
the respect for the culture, and it shows that, and the people from Jamaica that you've worked with, the artists are telling you, yeah, man, it's cool. You kind of got the green light to kind of say, okay, let me play with the tongue a little bit and see what comes out. Actually, I'm a Jamaican Canadian. I'm born in Canada. Really? My parents are Jamaican. But at times, the patois broke out in me. It's not now. I naturally speak from Toronto or whatever you want to say. But naturally, maybe because of my heritage, it comes out in me. So if it comes out in you naturally, you go with it.
All right. So True, I do have to say, it was actually Kenyatta Hill was the tipping point. He was the guy that told me, and he's my very good friend and brother, and we work together a lot. He looked at me and he said, "Chris, what's wrong with you? Do this, man. You have to do it." No, man. He's like, Jamaicans, we love it, man. We look at it as a show of respect if you do it properly. And so,
big up Kenyatta Hill, yeah.
Big up Yatta.
That's awesome. So. That's awesome. If you get his permission, you don't need no one else's permission. Forget what anyone else thinks.
Well, it was definitely very encouraging, and that helps. Encouragement is very important. When we're doing music, it's not as if we're all insecure and we need to have encouragement constantly, but it's definitely very important to keep us going, to know that it's appreciated.
100%. Feedback is important, whether it be positive or negative. It's still important to see how other people perceive you, because how you perceive yourself how you perceive yourself is the most important. Like what other people, that's the most important, how you perceive yourself. But from people that respect and uplift you and love you, and if they're telling you something like that's constructive criticism, that's more, like you said, better than some like rainbows and butterflies. Like everything's not always rainbows and butterflies.
That's why I surround myself with those kinds of people. I like that, especially in the studio. I don't want to hear this is good. I want to hear what could we do to make things better all the time. To me, the greatest achievement I can have in music is not popularity and things like that, acceptance. It's actually growth. I want to get better. I want to just improve. And, that to me is the greatest thing I can accomplish with music, is to just get better and better and better at what I do.
Growth it's essential with music, and you're such a talented musician. For you to be able to put the dub together yourself, you obviously have a mind and a ear, and an instrumental side of it. So I respect that. A lot of people, they can't play guitar, or they can't, not to diss those people, but when you can create the music, it takes a whole new level of artistry, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, that was actually where I started. I started in reggae as a musician first, and I knew I could sing, but I didn't have the desire to sing when I first started. And it was actually with a group called the Itals I used to play with, that they just pushed a microphone in front of me one day. I guess they heard me singing on the bus, and he just put a mic in front of me at sound check and said, "You're singing harmony tonight." And I was a little too nervous to tell him I didn't know how to play guitar and sing at the time. So I just accepted. And, when time came to sing, I stopped playing. I sang, started playing again. And within about a week or two, I was able to, start doing the two of them together. And it brought me to a new level. It was growth. Exactly.
Good for you. I love those type of stories. I love evolution stories. Even me as a Roots Reggae Hub producer, I have my interviewers, my hostess, my DJs. I'm kind of in the back. And now I've branched out. I lost someone close to me and who motivated me to kind of put myself in front of the camera rather than behind the camera. So I've evolved as well. So
good.
We're both constantly evolving. Good.
It's unfortunate when it happens through loss or things like this, but sometimes those are the catalysts that do cause these changes in ourselves. If our eyes are open, we can be defeated by these things, or we can lift ourselves up. So I'm glad to hear you say that,
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that you've evolved because we got this album, and we're going to continue to get more works of art from you, whether it be political art. I love political art. There's a passion behind it that inspires me. So as long as you continue to move forward, you're going to be continuing to do amazing things. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed right now to have this convo with you. I want to talk about like what inspired you to create Honest Music. Tell me about Honest Music, the record label.
Well, Honest Music, I initially didn't want to start a record label. I just wanted to start as a production company and to put out my own music. But I started to work with a guy many, many years ago who I had actually incorporated under Honest Music, but I wasn't trying to push it as a record label. And I started to work with a brother by the name of Daryl Burke D-Train, who's a keyboardist who's played with many people. And he and I started working together, and he convinced me that it would really be in my best interest to start producing other people as well, and to turn, Honest Music into a label and not just a means of putting out my own songs and my own records. So, and it's grown from there. So we've got some other projects coming. It's
tell me about the artists that you might be working with Honest Music, or that you worked with in the past.
Oh, quite a few. Kenyatta Hill was the first person we worked on an album for, called The Rhythm of Life. Then next, brother by the name of Puma Pata, who sings for Thievery Corporation. We did a record with him called In One Accord. And we've done a couple of rhythm albums that feature different singers as well. And we're about to put out the third in February. That will be coming out. And it's a tribute to Joseph Hill, which I've produced the album with Kenyatta. And we're featuring artists from all over the world. And it's really, really special.
You got your feet in Amsterdam. You got your feet all over. You're kind of all over the place here. Worldwide. Oh, yeah. Like me. I'm worldwide too.
Right on. Yeah, the world is a beautiful place, and I love to experience different cultures and to meet different people, and it's such a blessing that music gives us the opportunity to do that. Doesn't always happen easy, that's for sure. I know it looks really, beautiful to people out there and very simple, like, wow, he's here and there, but it's a lot of work, and you have to be ready for failures and disappointments along the way and just keep getting up again and again, because you might have to try 10 times for one thing to work, and be ready to just fall down again and again and keep getting up. And luckily I'm stubborn, so I can
There you go.
I'm stubborn, so
Good on you. You have to be, when you fall, you have to get back up. Otherwise, what is the point? Every knockdown is a challenge to recover and to thrive. Not be a survivor, but a thriver. So you have opportunity to do that.
You're right. Hence, actually, one of the messages from the album, "Not a Fall," is really about that, metaphorically speaking, that every stumble isn't a fall, and that's a very old saying from the 1800s that just felt appropriate. And sometimes it's good to incorporate these old maxims and proverbs and things into current day writing, because they apply, and some of these things
still relevant. Yeah,
absolutely. And the more I researched in doing this, the more I started to realize, like, wow, a lot of Bob Marley lyrics are very old, that he was doing this, and a lot of great writers are doing this. Martin Luther King, I started to discover things that I thought he had written, but they were much older. He was only paraphrasing in his speeches.
African proverbs and other things like that,
Yeah, and this is power. When we research these things and we share them with people, we're continuing these messages. And that to me is very important, because don't just throw away the past and throw away all the work people have done for us to reach where we reach. I want to honor that, and I've been given this opportunity because of the work of so many people before me. So I have to keep those things in mind.
Yes, 100%. And honoring the people who came before us, who passed the torch on for us, is an important
Absolutely.
thing. And I incorporate, my ancestors and the teachings of a lot of the freedom fighters that came before me. I consider myself a modern day freedom fighter, and I feel like your album, in a sense, because I would label you also. I don't like labels, but I would consider you a modern day freedom fighter as well.
Thanks.
So we have that in common as well. I want to know. Yeah. I want to know your movement since the lockdown. And you said, you came out with an album, things kind of halted. You maybe had plans for a tour. You maybe had plans, obviously you created this Crisis 2.0 during the lockdown.
Yes.
But, now since it's a kind of I call it now an extended lockdown to an extent. I mean, things are different in the States than it is here. In Toronto, we've moved a lot slower. I don't really feel we've ever really opened up fully. But what are your movements other than this album that you're doing?
Well, as mentioned, there's another rhythm album coming hopefully in February. We're shooting for the release date in February. I'm working on another album with Kenyatta Hill right now to produce his next album. And I also have an instrumental project that I've been working on, which is really unique and interesting. I've taught myself to play an instrument from China called the gusheng, which is a 21-string guitar. And I've actually collaborated with a Chinese musician as well as a Japanese musician for this.
This is awesome. So are you talking about Chinese, Japanese reggae
yes.
type art? Woo, I love it.
I'm going to call it Kung Fu Action Theater. And it's going to be something really, really special. It's just incredible. Something you could do yoga to. Or
I do yoga. I do hot yoga. Yes. Yes. You're speaking my language. We're good.
That's right. You could work out to it. You could probably meditate to the album. It's really that easy on the ears, I should say, for lack of a better term.
Wow.
But we're working.
We have a huge Asian following as well, like in Indonesia.
Oh, right.
So Indonesia is like our top 5 listeners.
Oh, wow. That's actually
funny, right? Cool. Funny. You would never expect it, but they love reggae music there. I'm
not shocked by things anymore. After going and playing music in India and playing reggae there, I'm not shocked by this stuff at all. It's all over the world now. And every culture is embracing it, and there's reggae artists coming from every single nationality.
Brazil, everywhere.
Name it.
I get music in all different languages, and it inspires me, and it shows me how reggae music has propelled and how people have embraced it. I mean, obviously Bob Marley's paved the way in his worldwide height of recognition, and he's still, one of the, if not the greatest, that people can't really the how he moved and propelled reggae music on a global scale is how it got to this point today, is why I have Indonesian followers and artists sending me their music, and it's the legend that he is still lives on. I have a hashtag I use all the time, Bob lives on.
Well, he left Jamaica and left Jamaica to come. He came to America, worked with people, from Island Records, and they developed this new sound as he went off on his own. And so that, to me, already took it worldwide. And so he really paved the way. And for me, it was the first reggae album I bought was Survival when I was 12 years old. And I listened to that album and studied it. I learned every song on guitar. I learned all the riffs, and I started to sing harmonies to it. And, these were things that taught me growing up, and it was my place of beginnings. So
nice. I think it was for a lot of people. So, it makes total sense. And Peter Tosh and, all the greats. So I also want to talk to you about, we talked a little bit already about your collaborations, Akabeka, Kenyatta Hill, Nick Cephacas. How do you pronounce that? Cephacas?
Stefakus. Yeah. Stefakus is a Greek name. And I'm actually here in San Diego to support Nick for he's with a group called Ayatera, but he's also doing his own solo career. And so I'm here to support Nick tomorrow night in San Diego. I'll be performing with him as a guest, and really love his music. If you guys out there haven't heard it, please check out his record called Foundation. It's a fantastic record. You won't take it out of your player. It's really good. And I feel blessed to be working with him, with so many talented people. It's just, it's an honor for me.
You're there for a show right now?
Yeah, I will be doing a guest appearance at the Music Box tomorrow night with Nick, who's opening up for another very good friend of mine, Don Carlos. So it'll be great to see.
I know Don Carlos. I play his music.
Yes, a very good friend.
His stuff. Well, his people send me his stuff. Yeah.
Someone who's helped me along the way. I played with Don Carlos back in the 90s. I played guitar for a period of time in his band. And so I've known Don for many, many years, and he's been a real help to me. He's given me some great opportunities along the way. And so I really appreciate the brother.
Well, awesome. Yes. Bless up, Don Carlos. I also want to talk to you a little bit. I hope your show goes well tomorrow, and anyone that's in the city that's watching, that's hearing this right now, you know where the hot spot's going to be.
Music Box tomorrow night.
Box. All right.
Music Box.
Yes. And your musical influences, other than Bob, who are your other musical influences?
Oh, look, that is not an easy. I can't paraphrase that question very quickly, because I grew up. My parents are both opera singers, so I grew up in a household filled with music. They were teaching voice all my life, but you know, if I hear something that touches my soul, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It could be any country in the world. For instance, I heard some Mexican music on the street today, and it was phenomenal. And it touches my spirit. I start to move in the street a little bit, and you know, it doesn't matter. It could be country music, it could be classical music, it could be anything that's
opera
powerful.
Music.
Even opera, yeah. Even I hated it.
I grew up playing classical piano.
Okay.
Conservatory. So, like you, a lot of different genres inspire me.
Yes. And sometimes I may even want to try. I'll give you an example. Kung Fu Action Theater has a couple of songs there that are classical songs that I've redone. So it's a classical piece of music redone in reggae with Chinese instruments and the traditional backdrop, you know, bouncing, you know, heavy drums and bass. And
ooh, love it. I can't wait. You got to give me the insight. As soon as it's ready, send it to my inbox.
Absolutely. You're on the VIP list. You got it.
Thank you. So what does reggae music mean to you?
Reggae to me it's, you know, for me personally, it's a lifestyle. You know, it's more than just how you play an instrument or sing or how the music sounds. It's something I live. You know, I've been around Rastafarian people for a long time. However, you know, I consider many of the teachings of the Rastafarian movement something I hold very close and I live, you know, in my life. However, you know, I also realized that movement was created to uplift Black people and to really lift Black people up around the world. So I'm not going to, you know, portray myself as a different nationality than I come from, you know. However, I incorporate so many of the the things of liberty that they talk about in my lifestyle, in how I think, speak, act, eat, you name it. And it's more than just deciding as an artist, I want to do a reggae album, which people can do. But to me, it really resonates more deeply when someone is living that message, living those things, then it becomes, as why I called the label Honest Music. It becomes something that's honest. It's not contrived. It's not created to be like something else. I'm not trying to create copies of what's been done already. I'm trying to elevate it and bring it forward and give it new life and, evolve, so to speak.
Yeah. I love that you said that it's a liberty. It is definitely a way of life. The Rastafarian community and the 12 tribes, it's something, it always will be somewhat of a political stance and a struggle to uplift the Black community, but also it's about one love. It's about, a way of living, and it's about, at the end of the day, love. For humanity, and for righteousness and freedoms. Yeah. And that's what your album is about.
That actually, sorry to cut you, that actually answers what you were going to ask me about the song Human Dignity. Yes. That's what that song is expressing. It's just, that's the message is, respect. Human dignity is what carries us along the road of life. I've suffered, as one of your other questions, of struggles we've been through. I've been through things where I've suffered from, and it's taught me this, that I could respond with anger. I could respond with, many different things that can be very, very negative and damaging, or I can lift myself up and grow above that and not take in, the poison that comes from here or here along the way, or from maybe something that's happened to me personally that might be very difficult, but to, rise above that and, share, a message of that experience as well.
Transform it into positivity, any negative that can be transformed into a positive. Anything you view as a negative can be transformed. So for you to be able to do that, and then to be able to do it in a creative way, kudos to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah. Your political undertone, your influence, is it very important for you, obviously, to have a message in your music, and not only to have a message, but to live it? Are you an example per se of that? I think you are. We've touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And your songs coming from personal experience. Obviously, we've all been through the last 2 years. We don't have to, we've all been through it. And the video, I wanted to talk a little bit about it.
Sure.
You chose a visual music video for Crisis 2.0, the song title track off your album. It just displays a lot of images, of people fighting for freedoms, of what we've been going through for the last 2 years. How did you come up with the creative inspiration or the idea behind the video?
The short of that, I could say watching Netflix, but
right.
Well, I was always impressed by some of the trailers that they had and things. And so I wanted to do something that didn't show my face, because the song has nothing to do with me personally. The message speaks about something much greater than that. And so I only wanted to show my face in the video as a shadow. And even that is a statement within itself. And so we kind of took a bit of inspiration from an old TV show for kids called The Electric Company, that used to teach kids words through shadows that would come out of their mouth.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be a great way to, be in the video. But as I had the concept for it, I reached out to a very good brother of mine, Puma, who's also one of the artists we have on the label, very talented artist, but he's also a phenomenal photographer. And he was going to lots of these protests over the course of 2020 and even before that and since then. And I reached out to him, and he was willing to collaborate. So he licensed me a number of photographs for the video, and we were able to kind of put those all together and really paint a picture of what the words were saying. I thought it was much more effective than trying to come up with an interesting location and filming me singing it, or trying to create something. I thought it was the best way to express that message.
Yes, I mean, I love the visuals. I love the words coming out of the mouth. You know, it's definitely well done. I love the use of the black and white.
Yeah.
The image of the young boys. You know, people protesting, as you can see on my Instagram. Like I was at a lot of the Toronto ones.
Yeah.
You know, and I was so happy to see people, like-minded people, because everywhere you go, you look at the car next to you, they're alone wearing a mask, and you look at the car, you know, you stop at the red light and you look on the other side and you're like, you're just wondering, like, where are my people? You know, where are my people in this chaos? You know, and you go there, and you know, my brother and me, and you know, if I wasn't able to be there, he was there, and we captured a lot of footage of real people, just my people.
Yeah.
My people. I found my people. I found my tribe.
Which is great. And you know, being from Washington D.C., we used to cut school to go to protests when I was a teenager, and so I've been around that environment all my life. I grew up in that city, and so I felt that was the video to do this. I don't know if it'll happen again with any of the other songs or videos, but it was perfect for that one. And so it just, everything fit together. The stars lined up, and
the stars do align. Yeah, the stars do align. I love it. Everybody go check that out. Christos CC Crisis 2.0 official video. It premiered in April of this year, and it's on his YouTube page. Definitely support it, share it, like it. You know how YouTube works. It's all about an algorithm up in YouTube. You know how that thing works. So make sure you guys we've already shared it on the Roots Reggae Hub Twitter page. And
give thanks.
We will continue to share it. So everybody go and watch that video.
Truly give thanks.
It really spoke a lot to what I've been going through, and it's very well done. So the photographer, again, shout him out.
His name is, as an artist, he goes by the name Puma Pata. His name is Christopher Smith. He's one of the singers for Thievery Corporation. So if you see them coming to your town, go see them, and you'll see him on stage. He'll be the guy jumping about 4 feet off of the ground. With this powerful voice. He's a very powerful singer, songwriter, performer, photographer, great guy.
Nice.
So yeah, that was, and you know, to be honest, I didn't always write this way. I used to write from other personal experiences, and have done some records where I was going through completely different set of experiences, and the songs
were. That's actually one of my questions. Do some of your songs come from personal experiences?
Oh, absolutely. A great song as an example of that, which we may reissue in time to come, from my second album. It's called Run to Another. And it was just, you know, the best way I could get through what was a heartbreaking time for me. And so I wrote it into a song. And, you know, sometimes music can work to help us get through, you know, difficult personal experiences. It can be a way to reach other people with messages. It can be a way of just healing. You know, you can write a song and feel healed by it, literally. Cry as you create it, and you just let all this energy go into this piece of work. And you know, these things, I believe, all serve a purpose, whether it's for expressing a personal sentiment or something that really is a public sentiment.
Yes, for sure. Personal experiences that you relay in music, are very powerful in your healing too, in your own personal healing. And then people that are going through the same things can relate and heal also through your music. So
absolutely,
it's strength. It shows strength to be able to share your experiences through music and through your art.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that that's one of the things that we're here for in the world, is not just to be for ourselves, lifting ourselves up, but lifting others up. And I believe in service and being of service to people in the world, that we serve a higher purpose when we choose that path.
I'm going to play a little bit for our viewers, a little snippet of
Okay.
Be of Knowledge.
Okay.
Crisis.
We will be performing for the first time together tomorrow. I'm really excited.
Nice.
Yeah,
this is one of my faves off the album, because I do believe each one teach one. You pass on the knowledge, like we were talking about earlier, with people who pass the torch, they pass on knowledge for us, and we pass that on, proverbs and whatnot. So I want to play this song.
Big up to Nick Zafakis and the Skanking Monks from Amsterdam. Those guys have been blessed along the way. Truly thankful.
All right, guys. So to keep it locked in the Roots Reggae Hub. All right.
Skanking Monks. I love it.
Better to be humble than to have to pretend. Don't you make a problem when it is represent the execution of his lyrical content. Be wise when you get your information. Sometimes better just to keep your opinion. Take out about discussion. Be of knowledge and full of strength. Information from my friend, 'cause some of them will use you and confuse you in the end. Yeah. Be of knowledge and full of strength. We have to fall down to rise up again. Forward is our view, we know that this is not the end. We're taken to the most that you provide. Distraction, change up manipulation. Now we're back big action. From one to another one of began. Truth be denied. Truth is that most people are gonna die. Quarantine of financial divide. Stuck in a summer of mental. Be wise when you get your information. Sometimes better just to keep your opinion. Whoa, I wish I could play out the full song, but hey,
truly grateful for that one.
Good over evil all day, every day, guys. You know how we do here.
Absolutely. That's what we strive for.
Good over evil all day, every day. Oh, there we go. A little feedback. Sorry, guys. That was Be of Knowledge off Crisis 2.0. We're here with Christos DC. Anyone who's just tuning in, he's a modern day freedom fighter like myself, but through the music. Yes. Nice. Yes. Thank you guys. So that was one of my favorite tracks. I have more. I have obviously more. I love Crisis 2.0 as well. Distraction, Rights. These are the tracks that I'm like, I'm just like, oh, I'm just jamming because I listened to your album multiple times.
All
It's
right.
just in my car. I'm in my car
right.
and I'm like, I'm just catching a vibe.
If it's in the car, that's a good sign. That's always a good sign. If it makes it to the car and it stays in the car, that's a very good sign. Because I could like an album, but until it makes it into my car, I don't really officially love it. Unless it's record, I can't bring it into my car. But if I got a CD and it's good, it's going to wind up there and the public will be.
Oh, well, I've been driving and jamming.
Right.
So, and I'm feeling all the tracks off the album. I kind of listed my favorites for you when I sent you the little DM there. From favorite to, but for me, I was like, Be of Knowledge Crisis, Distraction, because I feel like there's so many distractions in the world. Especially on social media. Like a lot of us, we spend so much time on our phones. You're at dinner, you're on your phone, you're not even communicating with your family nowadays. A lot of the media is a huge distraction. It is. That's exactly. From the pertinent, real issues that, that you're talking about on your album, it's like a lot of the things that are in your face, it's just to distract you from the reality of what really is the true reality, not this fake reality that is portrayed. Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, and you have your children there with you, and your children are tugging at your coat, mommy, daddy, and you're on your phone, and you're too busy for your child because you need to check something on social media or somewhere else. To me, that is a crime, and that's why distraction was something I wanted to write, because, it's really about being addicted to distractions. It becomes a way of life, an addiction. And most people aren't even aware of this. It's just something that occurs. And just like other forms of addiction, they don't realize as it's occurring until it's just too late and you're stuck, And I think it's something we need to be aware of. Very aware of it. It's something that we have to pull back. We have to be aware. First thing is awareness. That's the first step, is to be aware of it. And then once you're aware of it, act accordingly. Alter your time on your smartphone. Like, have real face-to-face, honest communication with your friends and your family. The holidays are coming up. Some of us are celebrating the holidays in our own way, in our own cultures, and whatever that may be for you. But it's so important to get rid of those distractions, especially around this time of year. Talk with your loved ones and have face-to-face genuine connection outside of the smartphones. I agree 110%. Instead of a text message, maybe call someone once in a while, hear their voice. Hey, just wanted to say hello, hear your voice. We forget little things like, man, I wish I'd have told that person I love them, until they're gone. Do it today, we have the chance to do it, instead of having a regret later for something that you could have expressed or have done. And, often these things like social media and stuff it's almost like they're dictating how we communicate to each other. Exactly. And I don't want to be told how to communicate to someone. That's something I consider sacred, and I want to do that and make that choice for myself. So, great, you got a nice emoji that works, and I can send that, but you know what? I'm going to just call instead, and I'm going to call this person and say, hey, brother, I love you, man. I miss you, man. Yeah, you don't need emojis to communicate your feelings, guys. That's right. That's right. I'm going to play a little bit of that song, Distraction, for you guys right now. Keep it locked on the Roots Reggae Hub. This also features some of the Chinese instruments I mentioned. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm hearing. It's a prelude to Kung Fu Action Theater. To hear just a touch of it. I love it. That's what that is. Yeah. I feel yoga right now. I'm like, oh, I gotta do the downward dog. I'm like, There won't be any vocals on the instrumental. It'll just be the music. Yeah. Addiction to distraction. Creative dissipation.
Keeps on calling, keeps stalling.
I hear it.
Yeah, you see? Two, that's the dulcimer and the air hoop. So they're both on this song.
Wow. Tell me how you got into exploring this different instrumental styles. Like, how did you think to even go there? Did someone introduce it to you?
In terms of the Chinese influence?
Yeah, those instruments, yeah.
I actually have been a fan of Chinese music for a long time. Strangely enough, I was a kung fu student when I was younger for many years, and so that was maybe the first introduction to Chinese classical music, and there's an emotion to it. Some of these instruments, they can bring you to tears. They're really powerful without any words. Some of these sounds, I think, are very healing as well. And so that was something that has been in the back of my mind for many, many years to do, and to incorporate these things together and try to create a new form of hybrid, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, it gives me like a Mystics kind of feeling, like Mystics in the air. And the full moon is tomorrow. And I'm kind of like a weirdo, like I follow full moons and stuff. So I was like,
exactly
this is like a full moon vibe music for me.
It is. I'll just put it to you this way: we burned a lot of incense making this album, and you know, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. Very mystical and very otherworldly, almost. You know, I don't know how to put it.
It's a feeling, you know, but I feel it, especially with the full moon vibes. And, you know, I'm definitely into the mystics and of the universe and how things work. So, yeah, that's one of those songs that kind of makes you feel some type of way about it, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you'll love the Kung Fu Action project because it's all about that. And every song is really, really just strong. So I'm excited about it.
Excited. The next one I want to play a little snippet for you guys is Rights, because we're all still fighting for our rights here in the society.
Yeah.
We're still fighting, especially here in Toronto and around the world.
All over. All
over the world. I feel like it's a worldwide movement for freedom right now. So let's play a little bit of Rights. I think it's rightfully so that we play this song.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Keep it locked right now on the Roots Reggae Hub. This is Rights by Christos DC. Bad mind spread like disease, guys.
Bad mind. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Sounds like me. Speak your right, come back to wrong. Your voice in a peaceful song. Eat your words and come to carry on. The land that we belong.
Yes.
The heart is flowing. I thought smoke was going in the air.
I got my thing here for after the show, you know.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right. I won't even go there.
Human dignity, yeah. That brings me to human dignity. I do want to play that dub. One of my faves. It's not on the album though. It's not part of the album, but it's part of one of your albums, and I really like the song.
Yes,
because we did. Sorry, speak on it.
Oh, we did a follow-up for Tessera, was that album, and we did a dub album to follow up with different dub engineers from all over the world as well.
I love it.
I believe Human Dignity was done by Tippy from iGrade, who also mixed Crisis 2.0, and we'll be also doing some dubs from Crisis, so that's something else to look out for, that we're going to be releasing some dubs from the album.
Oh, I love it. When I heard it, I was like, man, this is good. Because I went through obviously your album, but I went through some of the other stuff too. And this one really touched me in a way, and I love dub. So yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about that and how that came to be. Tell me a little bit about that project before I play it.
Well, the song specifically, Human Dignity.
Yeah, that song specifically, yeah.
That song was actually kind of interesting because the Skanking Monks, they're a group from Amsterdam, and they had sent some music of theirs to Honest Music, the label, and just to see if any of the artists on the label were interested in writing. And I didn't want to jump ahead of anybody, so I took my time and let the other guys hear the music, to see if someone else would write to it first. But no one really jumped, so I happened to have it in a CD in my car, and I was going into DC one night to see a group play, and I put the CD on, and as I'm driving down the streets downtown DC, and the song's on, and the words just came out of the blue while I'm driving.
Like divine inspiration.
So I just took my phone and hit the mic and just started recording myself singing it. And I wrote the song driving in my car in traffic with people walking by me at stoplights. It just came out. And I went home that night and recorded it. And so it was one of those moments where sometimes songs will just come out quickly. And that one was effortless. It just happened like out of the blue.
I love that story. I'm a screenwriter, so a lot of I do that too, but I won't talk too much about that. But a lot of my story ideas come like in the shower, like randomly. Like I'll be in the shower, and it's like all of a sudden it's like that, like instantly. Yes.
You have to take note when those things happen because they disappear sometimes. So I've heard of screenwriters, making sticky notes and just putting them up everywhere, which is something I do as well. If an idea comes and I don't have time to work on it, I'll write it down really quickly or record it in my phone. And that way I can go back and reference it later. I have so much stuff just piling up from, kind of pursuing this process. So there's always ideas to go back to.
So do you find you get a lot of those moments where it's just like an aha moment where divine inspiration just comes to you and like it flows, like it just pours out?
Absolutely. Sometimes it's very brief. Sometimes it just continues. And as you said, sometimes at the very worst times you would expect, as you lay down to go to sleep, times it happens and I got to jump out of bed and record something into my phone really quick, or it could be a melody that I just sing and then later decide whether that's going to be the music or the voice or, it could be a bass line. It could be a drum pattern or... You
hear the beat too. The beat can come to you.
Yeah. Horn lines, things like that. I try to be really hands-on with the horns that I use and to write a lot of the phrases for them, so that we kind of meet in the middle. They will give me their input as well creatively, but we try to really meet in the middle. But, you know, inspiration can come from, sometimes it's a movie, and I'll watch a film or something and I'll hear, I wrote a song for someone this year called, it's called War and Peace. And I was watching a film and a woman said something in the film about, you know, war starting in the minds of men. And where's my notebook? You're like, grab it. I just wrote it down. And that was where the beginning of the song came from, you know, a line in a film. Yeah. So you never know where it's going to come from.
Yes, and let it flow. When it does come, it's a blessing, because, man,
absolutely,
you know, it's definitely coming from a higher source. So, guys, I want to play that song for you. It's the Therese Tessera dub?
Tessera, yeah, which is a Greek word for four. It was my fourth album. My heritage is Greek, yeah. And so I decided to give it a Greek name. There's also a Greek song on the album. So, you know, it was a way of doing something different, breaking the rules, kind of.
Nice. All right, I'm going to play that for you guys now. Keep it locked on the Roots Reggae Hub. I love this song. Respect and humanity.
Good thanks.
Clean heart, action, integrity.
That one just makes me catch a vibe, guys.
Thanks.
Yes.
I have to say big up to Skanking Monks for that one, and to Tippy I grade on
big
that one.
Tippy and Skanking Monks featured on that dub. Oh my God, I feel it in my soul. You get my soul into it. I'm just like, yeah, it just sparked something inside me when I heard it. That's another one I can do yoga to. I can just vibes out to tomorrow,
Right.
my full moon, my
Yeah.
full moon night, and I'm home thinking about things and thinking about my work and trying to not to think about my work because it's the weekend, and just
Yes,
vibe.
I
And
do.
my mind just goes blank, and I just feel it in my soul.
That was actually how I felt when I first heard the piece of music. It just grabbed me. We had some people submit music to us, to the label from other places as well. But when I first heard that track, it just hit me. And I was like, this is tough. It was really, really good. Like, I want to write to this. So I'm really grateful for, the collabs with those guys along the way. We've done a few at this point. So
awesome. Collaborations are so important nowadays, especially you can find people that you click with, you can work with and continue to work with into the future. And when relationships just mesh together, it's such a blessed moment for both parties or for all parties involved. And you can raise each other up. Community is everything, and who necessarily and who you work with. You don't have. It doesn't have to be like you work with people that you don't like. Like it's such a amazing blessing that you can work with people that you actually like and that you actually vibe with. Even in film, like I choose my crew, as a producer, and I choose in film. It's very like that too. Like we choose who we want to work with, and you continue to make films with those same people and with the same crew. Like it's always like that. So absolutely. I can see you guys doing even more amazing work in the future.
I certainly hope so. We actually have a track that we're working on when I get home for Kenyatta with them as well. And so we're mixing it up. We actually have a single already done with Kenyatta and with the Skanking Monks, which is fantastic. And so we keep these relationships going. There's the ones that last and the ones that don't. Everything is for a reason, and sometimes we are only joined for a portion of time, and then we go separate ways. But when things are able to really last for a long time, it's really special because that doesn't always happen. So
exactly,
really grateful.
Yeah. I have a couple more questions for you before I let you go. I kept you over 9 o'clock. I've been selfish.
That's okay. No.
A couple more last ones. Anything that you've learned in your past that has completely altered your view on things? It can be a recent past, or it can be like even from your childhood. Anything, doesn't matter what. Anything that completely altered your view on things.
That's an actually tough question. It really is, because you wrote that, and I thought about it, and to be quite honest with you, something actually, I had an event in my life that really shaped the course of my life when I was young. I was still only 19 years old. My older brother was killed in a tragic event that was actually worldwide news. Pan Am 103 back in 1988. It was a flight that had been bombed, and it fell in Lockerbie, Scotland, killing 336 passengers, I believe, as well as people in the town of Lockerbie, Scotland. And I was able to travel to Lockerbie and to meet these people and to see the effect and impact that it had on these people, and to be involved with this case as it progressed over the course of 20 plus years. It really changed me as a person. As a 19-year-old, I instantly became an adult, and it shaped my world with media, because before I could speak to my parents and hug my mother, I had to go through a bunch of reporters who were there to interview them in the worst moment of their lives. And so it really shaped how I view a lot of these things and how I chose to move forward in terms of trying to be conscious of the things I say, the things I do, how I interact, how I treat people. So many of these things were really influenced by this moment in my life. And although I'll never get him back, I will be able to honor him through my works and through the music that I make. And so I don't think anything has really impacted me more greatly than that event in my life. And it's the reason why I'm still here doing this after many failed attempts and, many struggles. I'm not giving up. This is it. This is my life. And so...
Well, that's a huge thing to overcome, especially at the age of 19, and to see your parents go through that must have been so hard. And then not to have people sort of in the way of you reaching them in that moment is awful,
Well, it was a particular moment I came in when I first saw them, that the reporters beat me to the scene, and they were there interviewing my mom crying and my father. And as I come into the room, they said, "Excuse me, who are you? We go live in 10 minutes. And I said, "No, you're not." And I went and I gave my mom a hug, and I proceeded to push the reporters out of the house. And that was a very monumental experience in my life that shaped the course of the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And so, and it's really taught me a lot about people, how we view things, how we look at other people, voyeuristic attitudes in people, how we tend to look at an accident or view what's an experience in someone else's life. And I try to do those things with absolute care and caution and concern. And, I could go on for a long time about it, but that's a whole nother interview, to be honest.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much for sharing such a personal story.
Absolutely.
Because it is so personal, and it happened when you were so young. And I can't imagine how it wouldn't shape, the way you view things and the way, you sort of treat people too. Moving forward, it must have altered everything for you in that moment. And also for your parents, losing a child is something a parent can never, I can't imagine. I have a child and I couldn't imagine, so it's devastating. It's beyond devastating. So I appreciate that you shared that with us. It's such an intimate story, so thank you.
I'm honored to be able to say it and to share his story as well, because it's a big part of who I am in my life and why I do what I do.
Exactly. That's an honor of him too, right? So
good for
you. Yeah, you're honoring him with everything that you do daily.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I did want to ask you some of your struggles, but that's such a huge struggle, to even overcome. So I don't even know. I'm so emotional. Like I had goosebumps even feeling hearing the story and stuff. And I don't know if I can handle hearing any more struggles right now. So.
I don't think any of the other struggles have ever really amounted to what that struggle was.
Exactly.
And so that just prepared me for many other struggles to come, believe me, and they still do. Exactly. But I just put on that armor of protection, and I try to ground myself and remember to be as positive and kind to people as possible. Never prejudge, because we never know what someone else is going through. So try to keep an open mind and an open heart.
Exactly. Yeah, and give thanks to the Most High, Jah Rastafari.
Absolutely.
Every day.
Always be grateful every day. Whether you say Jah, whether you say God, whether you say Krishna, whatever you might say, just be grateful for something larger than ourselves in this world.
Yes. Thank you so much, Christos, DC.
My pleasure.
Oh, what an interview. I'm so glad I got to know you better.
Oh, thank you.
It's different when you research and you listen to the music, and then you can put a face to the name, a face to the art. And now, I'll be stalking your Instagram, sharing everything, and just,
Yeah, give thanks. And I truly appreciate the support. What you do and other DJs, this keeps us alive. It really... we would be nowhere without the support of people like you. So thank you as well. It really definitely means a lot to all of us.
Thank you. Yeah, so I want you to shout out all your social media. I want you to shout out, let people know where they can find you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
Christos DC, you can go to Instagram, Facebook. You can go to Twitter, but I don't really share much opinions over there. You can go to the website.
Twitter is a brutal, cutthroat place. It's not for the faint of heart.
Not for me so much. You can go to honestmusicdc.com. Yeah. That pretty much, everything we do is usually Facebook, Instagram, and we're finding other platforms as they pop up. But you can always go to christosdc.com. However, we tend to update a little more quickly on social media platforms. So I would just say stick right here on Instagram, go to Facebook, and you can.
And if an artist wants to collaborate with you, like would it be the best way to reach out by your website or anything like that, or social media?
Send me a message. Send me a message here. Just keep in mind that there may be a lot of projects sometimes that are already lined up, and so it's nothing offensive because I feel I might hurt someone's feelings sometimes if I say that I'm not available for a period of time.
Oh my gosh, I can understand. Booked in advance, like projects are coming. I'm sure you're like already working on projects that can last for 3 months or 6 months. You know what I mean?
Well, the next year, even more. Yeah. But yes, people can just reach out directly. You can direct message me on either of these platforms. And if I don't take it, maybe the label manager might respond before me as well. So.
All right, guys. Well, for everyone tuning in worldwide, I'm going to play out Christos DC entire album, Crisis 2.0. So keep it locked for that. Everybody joining me on Instagram, if you want to hear the whole album, I'm going to play Crisis 2.0, the title track of the album, next. You won't be able to hear it here on the gram, but you'll be able to hear it on rootsreggaehub.com. You can tune in 24/7. It's always live. No matter where you are right now, 229 countries tuning in worldwide.
Beautiful.
So thank you to epic. Thank you to the Roots Reggae Hub Massive Worldwide for tuning in. It's Friday Night Live on our exclusive interview again with Christos DC. Follow him and support the movement because, he's a political warrior as myself. Okay, guys?
Thanks.
Thank you, Christos.
Thank you.
All right.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
We'll be in touch.
Yes, I hope we make it to Toronto and I'll meet you face to face.
Yes.
Beautiful.
All right. Bye, guys. See you, everyone.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.